In the last two videos, you saw why and how to add color to your visual notes. In this video, we'll look at some concrete examples of color in action so that you start to get a clear picture of how you might apply color in your own visual note-taking process. So let's check out some examples. I'd like to give a few examples from each of the three application categories we'll be digging into in part 2 of this course: learning, problem solving, and idea sharing. While I'm describing these examples, think of ways you might be able to do something similar in your own work for whatever application you are directing your visual note-taking efforts toward. One way you might use color as a learner is to do a bit of follow-up work on some bullet point notes that you took during a class or a talk. As you are reviewing those notes, you could use 3 different highlighters to emphasize the key ideas, the things that you don't fully understand and maybe have some questions about, and also the assignments that you need to complete or the things that you want to follow up on. If you do that after the fact filtering and color coding of your notes throughout the course, that will make it much easier to put together an end of the unit summary, where maybe in this case you give each major topic its own mark-making color, and then go through with just one highlighter to emphasize the most difficult concepts, those things that you want to make sure you review before you put that information to use. Let's look next at a problem-solving example. As a first step in solving a particular problem, you might get each individual element of that problem down on a note card or a sticky note. Then you could go through and highlight things that you can impact in one color, things that someone else can impact in a second color, and things that nobody can impact in a third. By categorizing the elements of a problem in that way, you might have an easier time coming up with realistic solutions. And what you could do with a proposed solution is give the steps of that solution a particular mark-making color, and then get down the due dates for each step in a second color. Then go through and highlight those steps that still have some unknowns, so that when you're carrying out this solution, you're aware of those steps that might require some in-the-moment adjustments based on the current situation. That will set you up for a higher probability of success when you put that plan into action. Finally, we've got idea sharing. For the first example in this category, imagine that you're giving a presentation and that you're using some slides to help you communicate your ideas. As you prepare those slides, make intentional choices about the colors that you use. Select colors that work well with the theme of that presentation in a way that will connect with your audience. In this case, you'll be able to choose a background color, a color for your sketched images, and a color for your text. Try to find a combination of colors that sets the appropriate tone for that presentation. As a second example in this category, imagine that you're about to take some sketch notes of a talk that you intend to publish on your blog for others to see. Even if you only use a black pen as you're taking those notes, you could review them after the fact and highlight the big takeaways in one color and the smaller details in another. That way, when folks come across that image on your blog, they will quickly be able to see those key ideas and then dig into the details of the ones that they're interested in. I hope that these examples have sparked some ideas for how you might apply the use of color in your own notes. Before you go off to your own colorful note-taking, I want to share a few tips for using color that I have found to be particularly helpful. First, I think that, especially in the beginning, you'll want to start with just a few colors. You don't want to overwhelm yourself with options, so pick just a few colors to use and give each of them a role. Then test out those colors and their roles in an actual note-taking session to see if you need fewer or more colors to achieve what you're going for in your notes. Tip number 2, which you might have been able to guess by looking at the examples. I think it helps to use dark colors for mark making and light colors for highlighting. That way you won't have to squint to see the words that you write and the images that you draw. Those will stand out well with dark colors and won't be shaded over so long as you use light colors for highlighting. Keep those tips and these examples in mind as you continue to develop your own process. Now it's your turn to develop and then test a plan for how you'd like to use color within your visual notes. You can use the resources below this video to help you do that, and then put that plan into action and see how it goes.